What happens when you take the razor-sharp aesthetic of Italian futurism and shove a blue-collar American sledgehammer under the hood? You get the Tomaso Pantera, a car that didn't just bridge the gap between two continents. It tore a hole right through the middle of the automotive world. To understand the Pantera, you have to understand the audacity of its creator, Alejandro Di Tomaso, a man who possessed the ambition of Enzo Ferrari, but the pragmatism of a Detroit foreman. He didn't want to build a fragile toy. He wanted to build a world beater that you could actually fix with a wrench. The story begins in the late 1960s. Ford was licking its wounds after a failed attempt to buy Ferrari, and they were desperate for a mid-engined exotic to sell in Lincoln Mercury showrooms. Di Tomaso provided the solution, a wedge-shaped masterpiece designed by Tom Giarda at Geo. When it debuted at the 1970 New York Motor Show, it looked like it had landed from Mars. Low-slung, aggressive, and draped in steel, it featured the kind of folded paper design that would come to define the supercar era. But while its rivals from Lamborghini and Ferrari were powered by complex, high-strung V12s that required a team of scientists to tune, the Tomaso hid a secret in its engine bay. Bolted directly behind the driver was a 351 cubic inch Ford Cleveland V8. This was the American heart, a pushrod engine capable of producing 330 horsepower with the reliability of a pickup truck. It was a marriage of convenience that resulted in pure mechanical bliss. On the road, the Pantera offered a visceral, analog experience. There was no electronic safety net. There was only the heavy weight of the gated shifter, the smell of unburnt fuel, and the thunderous roar of American displacement echoing off Italian bodywork. Because the engine produced massive amounts of low-end torque, the Pantera didn't need to scream to 8,000 RPM to get moving. It simply lunged forward with a brutal linear force that caught many European purists off guard. However, the Pantera's reputation was as volatile as its performance. Early models were notorious for their Italian build quality, meaning they were prone to overheating, rusting on the showroom floor, and having ergonomics that suggested the driver should have 3 arms of varying lengths. Legend has it that Elvis Presley once got so frustrated when his Pantera wouldn't start that he pulled out a handgun and shot the steering wheel. Yet, despite these flaws, the car developed a cult following. It was the everyman's exotic. If a part broke, you didn't have to wait 6 months for a shipment from Modena. You could often find a replacement at the local Ford dealership. As the years rolled on, the Pantera evolved. It grew wider fenders, massive rear wings, and even more aggressive aero kits, eventually transforming into the GT5 and GT5S models that looked like they belonged on a Group 5 racing grid. It outlived almost all its contemporaries, remaining in production for an incredible 20-year run until 1992. Today, the Pantera stands as a monument to a specific moment in history when the rules were being written on the fly. It remains the ultimate hybrid, a car with the soul of a Mediterranean artist and the brawn of a Midwestern factory worker. It's loud, it's difficult, and it's unapologetically fast, the perfect embodiment of Italian style with an American heart.